What is up, go-getters? It's Dallas Gordon here. I wanted to come in and share more of a personal story. I wouldn't normally share stuff like that, but you know what? That time has ended, okay? I'm here to share a very personal story with you, and hopefully some of you can relate and it will help someone else along the way. So if you are brand new here, my name is Dallas Gordon. I'm a business owner, a business mentor, all that good stuff. I love to help other entrepreneurs to build purpose-driven, gentle, easy, joyful businesses as well. So if that's your jam, definitely check out the channel and all the amazing free resources that we have here in this community. Welcome aboard. Okay, so let's get started, guys. So I want to talk to you about my story, how I almost turned away from God. I almost just lost my relationship from God until this happened. So I want to take you guys back, and I want to try to, hopefully this video won't be too long, but we'll see what happens. So I want to take you guys back on kind of like my upbringing and what the backstory is. So when I grew up, my parents became pastors at a very young age. I was very young when my dad became a pastor, and just know that came with being in church. Night in, night out, day in, day out. We were in church. We were in church multiple times a week. I grew up in a very great home, but a very strict home around religion, things like that. Things you couldn't do, things you couldn't say, times you had to pray, slap of the wrist, whatever. Very strict. And at a certain age, especially like teenage age, like a lot of teenagers do, I rebelled against that. Probably because it was just so much of it. I was drowning in it. Okay. There was a disconnect. I also started to see how superficial some of the people in the church were at the time. This was my view at the time, where, I felt sometimes like, one of my parents or something like that was really nice in church, but when they came home, they weren't as loving. We didn't see as much of that loving side. And because we spent so much time in church in serving people and helping people, not to get that same kind of love or communication from your parents at home kind of felt a little hypocritical to me at the time. Okay, and then, I grew up, I went away to college in another state. I went to a Christian college. I really started to really kind of, get away from my parents and really try to experience God for myself. So that was one of the first times that I was like, okay, I'm away from home. I don't have to go to church as much. And the particular college I was in was really a strong Pentecostal college. So it was just like, we couldn't go to the movies. We couldn't listen to, regular music. We couldn't have a boyfriend. We couldn't do anything under their watch. So it was even more religion, like next level religion from what I had came out of. But still, I was away from home. I was away from my family. I was away from my parents. It was like, this was the first time I was like, okay, God, if you're real, please show me, because I only knew what I've been grown up to know. And I really needed to see God for myself. And I really do honestly believe that every person should have space. I think it's a good thing, especially if you have grown up in a particular religion. I think it's a good thing to be able to seek out the Creator, to seek out God for yourself, to see what that relationship for you as an adult or as a young adult needs to look like. And I know in my parenting, the way that I parent my children, I teach them about God and I demonstrate, God to them, which I feel like is even more powerful. But I also give them time and space to be able to process and cultivate their own relationship with spirituality as well. And that's something that I do a little bit different with my children in the way that I was raised, because I feel like no matter how much you force a young person into a religion or belief, they are still at some point in their life going to have to seek God for themselves and find their own personal relationship with the Creator on their own. So I just suggest that in general. So that was my first kind of time where I was like, God, show yourself to me. And basically God did in plenty of situations when I was in college. I'm not going to get detailed right now because it would just make the video too long. But there were several instances where God showed God's self to me. Okay. And I believe that there was a higher power, a being, a very powerful being. I do believe in Jesus Christ. All of those things were shown to me when I was in college real strong. So after that, and I came back home after college, I feel like I don't want to say a wrong path, but I got off on a very, very different path at that point where I got married young. Things went to the hell. Okay, things went to hell in my life. And even after that, once again, I felt a little lost. I ended up being a single mom after that marriage. I ended up being really nervous. And I think I have a video on my channel, guys, talking about anxiety and how I overcame that and stuff, because I had anxiety times 10. I was, depressed. I was stressed, all that stuff. I didn't think I would ever be able to get myself out of that and really even be a good mom to my son, because I was just so wrecked after what had happened. Even during that time, guys, I felt like I went down a path of nervousness as to where I didn't know what was coming tomorrow, and I was just so afraid to face that. And I started to talk to psychics a lot. I started to go down that path real deep. Okay. I started to wear crystals all the time. I started to do all of these things. Now, disclaimer, I feel like everybody has their own journey. One thing about me is I'm not here to slap your wrist and tell you what's for you and what's not for you. What I am here to do is to share my story and to share my journey with you. And whatever path works for you is what works for you. I feel like to a certain degree, we're all going the same place, in the same direction, and we all are going to take different turns on our journey. So at the time, I was really seriously deep digging into serious new age. I was, like I said, talking to psychics. I couldn't go a day without talking to a psychic. And I'm going to be honest, for me, guys, it really dug me into a deeper, darker hole. Okay, it really, really did. Thank God I had a praying mama, because she helped me to bring me out of that. Fast forward into my life today. I got married to my current husband. We've been together for like, I think 12 years. We've been married coming up on 11 years now. We have 3 beautiful children, including my son that was already there. Okay. We have 2 girls. I changed a little bit. I went back, into my relationship with God pretty heavy on, early on in our relationship. I went back into that. And I think that what really kind of knocked me off of my axis that time was all in the same few months. My dad died, and which was my first real death of someone that I really, truly, deeply cared about. My first ever time experiencing death with someone that I was so connected to, that was really a part of my inner circle. First time. Other people have died, my family, people I've known, but nobody that close to me before. So that was really like a hit to the gut. During that time, I was also in some really serious, ugly court battles and family stuff as well that took years to resolve. So I think that, number one, I was disappointed that I had lost my dad, who I believe was a general in faith, was a good dad, somebody I loved and cherished. And it broke my heart that he wasn't going to be around to continue to watch my children grow. He never even saw my youngest take her first step or whatever. You know what I mean? So I really felt some sort of way with that, because that was a very unexpected death. I mean, the year before, we were all vacationing in Florida. So I really felt some sort of way when he passed. And then on top of that, I was going through this long-term court battle that went on for years. So for me, it was just like, God, if I'm really your child, and I was doing a lot of questioning God. I was like, if I'm really your child and you really are who you say you are, why would I be going through this? Why would my life be so bad? Why would I lose my dad? Why wouldn't you let him live? Why wouldn't? And why wouldn't myself? I'm laughing now, all the way almost away from God. Okay. So what I want to say, I was so disappointed. I also went down a long rabbit hole of studying the truth of religion, the truth of Christianity, where it derives from, the origin of it with Black people, all this other stuff. I really went down this rabbit hole of knowledge as well. And when I did that, I honestly didn't know how at that point to have a relationship with God. I just did not know what to do. Even churches, I went on this goose hunt, this wild hunt on what church should me and my family belong to, because I told you church had been a part of our family for so long. And since that kind of ended, I think my parents were in ministry for years, over 20 some years. So after that ended, it was like I never really found home again. But the truth is, a lot of the churches that I was trying to be connected to, there was a lot of stuff going on that, or being said, or a lot of belief systems that I felt like were not in the Bible. They were stuff that other people, it was their interpretation of the Bible, and they were putting that on everybody else. Also, I'm a real big, huge believer that God is love, that our creator is all about love. So anything that divides us from people, okay, or says you're dirty and I'm clean, okay, I feel like that's not love, right? I still can't get with that, right? So I was really in a dark place. There was really a lot of things that I did not understand. When I say dark place, I was doing okay. I just wasn't sure about a lot of things. So I think what really brought me back is this, and this is what I want to share with you. A lot of the things that I was participating in that I thought were good, I found were dark. Okay, and we're bringing a lot of darkness into my life. I'm not going to speak on specifically what those things were, but what I will say is there's a lot of little shiny objects in our world right now that look like they are light, but they are not. They are leading people into darkness. I would say be very careful about what you take in. Music, movie, award shows, whatever. Okay, friendships, social media. Be very careful what you take in, and really have a spirit of discernment. Really use your intuition, because a lot of the things that you see that are being presented to you as if they are light are not. They are the opposite. So I have a very strong spirit of discernment, very strong intuition. So I was able to detect and to see straight through some of the things that I was engaging in. So I had to start to dial a lot of stuff back, because my desire has never really been to have separation from God, which is my core belief. So what do I think the problem is with a lot of us who have fallen away from God? And let me just say, when I say God, I'm not talking about church. I'm not talking about that. You know, some of us go to church, some of us do not. You don't have to be in a building to find God, okay? God is everywhere, all the time. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your personal relationship with God. That's what I'm talking about today. What gets people off track from that? Number one, and I'm going to speak from my own situation. The one thing that almost made me turn away from God was losing a person. I just felt as though the person that I lost, which was my dad, I felt that his death was untimely. And since his passing, I've lost another person that's very dear to me recently. One thing that has changed in me around death is that my understanding around death. I believe we're all here on assignment. We're all here for a different reason. Life is beautiful and death is beautiful, because it's both are taking you into a new season of your life as a spirit, as a soul. So we all come down here on a plan, on an agenda to learn different lessons and to help other people with their lessons. And we don't always understand the timing of when people come or leave, right? It's just almost like an unexpected pregnancy. As a mother, you might feel like my life is over. You may feel the same way with an unexpected death. How can I live without this person? But the purpose for why people are here, when they come and when they go, it is beyond us. It is beyond our understanding, but it is for a purpose. I had to learn that, right? I had to learn that all of us are going to go at some point. Okay. So, and it may not be timely according to our perception, but we have to trust and leave that with God, because it's just beyond us. So that was some feelings that I really needed to resolve as I have grieved my dad. I feel like I still have a very strong spiritual connection with my dad's spirit, and I still communicate with my dad today. Number two, I expected for life to be perfect, because I thought that because I grew up as a Christian, that life was supposed to be perfect. Partially because I grew up with a really, really good childhood. My parents worked hard to make sure that I did not know what it was to struggle. So I had not really seen us being on the street. I had not seen us living in less than perfect homes and things like that. I had never lived in bad environments. I had never been around it. So I didn't have a realistic view of what life is. I just thought that as a Christian, you're supposed to live a better life than other people. And that's just not how it goes. So it doesn't matter whether you claim to be a particular religion or not. We're all people. We are all the same. Okay. And life is here to teach us. So there are going to be certain, paths that you're going to take and you're going to choose that are going to take you this way, and paths that are going to take you that way. And things don't always work out perfectly in your life. That does not mean that God does not love you. So like with my children, like my oldest is 20. He's made some decisions in his life already that have taken him down certain paths. And as a mom, I've had to step back and give him his space to go through and experience whatever it was that he needed to. However, it doesn't mean because I had to step back and let him learn that I don't love him. It doesn't mean that I don't want the best for him. It's just that I have an understanding that it's his life and it's his journey, and he's down here to learn lessons. So mama can't always jump in and save the day all the time. Okay? Same relationship with God. So I had to learn that everything in my life is not meant to be perfect. I'm still a child of God, even if this goes wrong or that goes wrong. But I feel that my communication and relationship with God and my spirituality makes me stronger so that I can deal with the detours and the turns and the winds and the turbulence and all that comes with life. So that's a different thing, or a different way that I've also processed that. And the last thing I want to mention, the last reason why I feel that a lot of us turn away from God is because of other people. We allow other people and their behavior to decide for us whether or not we're going to continue to have our own personal relationship, right? So I got turned off, and I still, as I said before, I still, in my particular situation, do not believe that I have to be in a building in order to be saying I love God. I don't have to. I don't believe I have to, right? And that is some people's way of fellowshipping and being around like-minded people. That's what some people need, and that's good, right? However, I think that too many of us have been turned off and turned away because of someone else who claimed they love God, the way that they either interpreted what they read in the Bible or the way that they treated us. It turned us off so bad that now we turn off from God. So remember, nothing can separate you from the love of God, right? Not church folks, not what somebody did, what your mama did, what whoever did. Don't allow someone else's action who called themselves a person of God to deter you from your own personal belief system or your own personal relationship. Nobody else can dictate that. So don't allow that. So that's pretty much my story, guys, okay? I have a beautiful relationship with the Creator. I'm really enjoying the ride. But do you see how I've learned through all of that? All of that wasn't perfect, and it won't continue to be, I'm pretty sure, right? But through all of that, I've learned, and I've walked away with so many lessons that I can now push forward to other people. And some people are going to watch this video and they're not going to agree with anything I said. And other people are going to be like, you know what? This is the video that I needed to see today. And those are the people that I'm hoping to reach. All I hope for is that we all can be respectful, that we all can remember God as love, and we all can remember that we're all people. We're all in this together, and that we can just respect each other's beliefs and our journeys in life. That's my prayer today for each of us. So be blessed. I hope you enjoyed this. Definitely do drop me a comment below and let me know. And if you feel so led, definitely subscribe. I'd love to see you around on this channel a bit more. Be blessed, guys. I'll see you on the next one.